Once upon a time, in a small secluded studio far from civilization, there lived an artist named Rizzy. Most of Rizzy's days were spent in a vicious cycle of brainstorming and procrastination, as she had no idea what to draw. That is, until one very fateful day, when she heard a strange knocking at her door. Now, Rizzy rarely received visitors, so she scratched her head puzzled and called out,
"Who is it?"
After getting no answer, she opened the door, but no one was there. Instead, a mysterious little box sat at her feet. Curiosity flooded her mind as Rizzy quickly picked up the box and brought it inside. She examined the small parcel very closely, trying to figure out just where it had come from and why it appeared on her doorstep. To her shock, Rizzy realized that the box was addressed specifically to her and that it was stamped with a name that stirred something deep within her memory.
Where have I heard that before?
Her curiosity now too strong to resist, Rizzy eagerly opened the box. Slowly, she lifted the lid to reveal the most beautiful sight that her eyes had ever seen. It was none other than
Create This Book 3.
Yes, you heard her right. It was a Create This Book 3 filled with not 100, not 102, but 101 art prompts for her to choose from. Rizzy was beyond thrilled. This book was going to change everything. No longer would she spend countless hours rearranging her markers and staring out the window, just wishing she had art ideas of her own. Thanks to Mariah Elizabeth and Rizzy could now create endlessly. Well, 101 prompts worth of endless, but you get the idea. Now, let's see what prompts Rizzy has for us today. Okay, so the prompt that I got was to create a dozen, but when I flipped to the page, I remembered that I left myself a sticky note telling myself to do page 160 first, and that page is to create a flip-up picture. Fold the outside of page 161 inward along the dotted line, then draw a picture on the back of the folded page. Unfold it and use the inside to show the next phase of action. Basically, the two prompts are side by side in the book, so I didn't want to do the dozen page first and have that affect the... You'll see. For now, we're just going to create a flip-up picture. I've got my trusty sticker paper, and it feels so good to be using her again. Oh, I've missed you. In the time that I was gone from my channel, I didn't do any Create This Book pages, so it just feels so good to be using this paper again. Honestly, though, the paper isn't really quote-unquote art-grade paper. It's just that sticker rip. It gets me every time, but I'm gonna stop ogling over the sticker paper and get to what's actually on the screen. As you can see, for the first picture, I decided to draw 3 caterpillars just kind of doing their little mundane things. You know, the mundane things that caterpillars are typically found doing, like eating a plant or reading a book or maybe even painting a landscape. It's all very realistic over here. The little guy who has his face buried into the book is called George, and wait, I'm just realizing that he's a bookworm. Oh, I didn't even consider that as I was drawing the picture, but I love when things work out like that. Wait, actually, let me stop the celebration and figure out if caterpillars are even worms. Give me a second. No, they're not worms. Well, as the old saying goes, if not friend, why friend-shaped? I would like to personally add the question, if not worm, why worm-shaped? These guys are still worms in my heart, and my heart is apparently not a very scientifically accurate location. Sue me. Don't actually sue me, I'm broke. But moving on, the little guy that you see eating is named John, and the one that you see painting is named Bill. I gave them real mundane names to go with their simple, laid-back lifestyle. No offense if your name is John, George, or Bill, they are still fine names, they just also happen to go really good for this purpose. So we have 3 best caterpillar buddies living their lives, but there is a twist on the horizon. Can I get a drum roll, please? They turn into butterflies. Now I know what you're thinking right now.
Rizzy, we already know that. It's normal for caterpillars to turn into butterflies.
But is it normal for caterpillars to turn into werewolf? That's right. These are not mere mortal butterflies, but instead they are werewolf butterflies. Do these guys turn into typical werewolves? No, that would be way too predictable. Instead, when the sun goes down and the full moon comes out, these guys turn into not party animals, but party insects. They live a normal caterpillar existence, picking out curtain colors and watering their houseplants, and then boom, a full moon hits and these guys transform. Our bookworm friend George turns into Golden Feet Georgerino, the dancing king. John uses that energy from all the plants he's been eating to become Jugglin' Johnny, Johnny, and that's not juggling, he's juggling Johnny. And lastly, when our friend Bill transforms, he puts down his paint stick and picks up his drumsticks to become Silly Billy with a mad skilly. Since these guys are werewolf and not butterflies, they don't stay in their final winged form. After each full moon is over, they go right back to being their typical caterpillar selves, and then they rinse and repeat it for the next full moon. So now all that's left is to stick the page in the book and add some little stars, and this page is done. Now we're moving right along into create a dozen, draw a dozen of anything. It was a little challenging coming up with something that I wanted to draw for this page because I wanted it to be a dozen of something that I really loved, but I couldn't think of what that thing was until I got a look around my space and quickly realized I like cats. So I decided to draw a dozen cats, but not just any cats. Cats in sweaters. Let me introduce you to the gang. We have Stretchy Cat, Heidi Cat, Sleepy Cat, Yawny Cat, Groomy Cat, Drippy Cat, Licky Cat, Nakey Cat, Angry Cat, Poofy Cat, Scaredy Cat, and Charles. Charles got a name because he was my favorite. Starting off, we have Stretchy Cat, and much like all the other cats here, he definitely lives up to his name. He's constantly seen tuckered out and stretching, but somehow never been caught in the actual act of sleeping. He belongs to a group with both Sleepy and Yawny that some have dubbed the Tired Trio. It's pretty much only tired energy surrounding these three, but somehow Sleepy is the only one to ever been sighted sleeping. Like I said before, Stretchy is in a perpetual state of getting ready for bed, stretching, and being tired, but Yawny is always in a state of coming out of sleep, but still has never been caught actually sleeping. And I know saying getting caught sleeping sounds really dramatic because obviously all cats sleep, right? No.
Wrong.
According to Stretchy and Yawny, they don't actually sleep. In their minds, having all of their friends believe that they're just built different and therefore don't require sleep like the rest of them makes them feel like god tier cats. And for most of the group, that mind trick actually works and they do see them as some sort of higher being because of it, but not Heidi Cat. Heidi Cat is fed up with all the praise and all that these two are getting because he knows deep down that they actually do sleep. So what does he do? He hides and tries to catch them in the act of sleeping. Currently, he's hiding in the sleeve of a sweater, but in the past, he's hidden in boxes and bags and anything that he can really get his paws on to try to catch these two in the act of sleeping so he could prove to all the other cats that they're just like them. Sadly, he hasn't had much success with this hiding method because he still has yet to actually see them sleeping. Whether it be because he gets tired first and falls asleep, he has to take a bathroom break, or he needs to just go get food, he always seems to miss these guys sleeping. Sometimes he honestly does start to doubt himself and wonder maybe they just are built different, but he knows deep in his heart that they are frauds, so he just keeps hiding with the hopes of one day catching them in the act. Meanwhile, we have Groomy and Drippy, who are basically furry germaphobes. Honestly, Groomy is probably the head germaphobe. He is constantly grooming himself for just about any and every reason. Literally, a gentle breeze could blow through his fur, and instead of enjoying it, Groomy's mind would go straight to,
Ew, all the dust and bugs and grossness in that breeze, I gotta get cleaning.
and then he'll start grooming. Groomy is actually the one who got Drippy interested in hygiene and cleanliness, but Drippy just took it to the next level. While Groomy uses his tongue to clean and is typically fine with that, Drippy is
Disgusted by this.
He's very put off by saliva and he doesn't like the scratchy, bumpy feel of his tongue, so he opts for human baths. He takes about 4 or 5 of those bad boys every day and is therefore always dripping in water. And it doesn't help that Licky Cat tends to get a kick out of constantly licking both Drippy and Groomy. And she's not even trying to be malicious by doing this. She will lick any and everyone because she sees it as love and kisses, and this sweet girl has got so much love to give. And speaking of sweet girls with love to give, let's quickly track back to Nakey Cat. Nakey Cat has got the love bug bad for none other than Charles. I mean, honestly, can you really blame a girl? Just look at that face. So Nakey Cat has got the heart pounds for Charles, and that has stirred up a bit of jealousy in Angry Cat. Angry Cat is crushing big time on Nakey, but she never notices him, so he feels pretty bitter about it. He tries everything in his power to impress Nakey, including opting for a bright orange sweater because it complemented her blue sweater, but she still doesn't notice him. Meanwhile, Charles is just completely oblivious to any of this love triangle madness going on around him. He's a very charming and genuine guy and wears his heart on his sleeve even though it's actually on his chest, but you get the point. He is every cat cat girl's dream without even trying. Every cat girl except one, that is. I mentioned before that this was a love triangle, but now I need you to throw that triangle in the trash and draw yourself up a square because this thing gets more complicated. Poofy cat, poofy cat, poofy cat. Where does your heart belong, girly?
It belongs with Angry Cat.
The drama. Yep, Poofy Cat is in love with Angry Cat. She's basically Taylor Swift in the You Belong With Me video.
You belong with Poofy. You belong with Poofy.
But Angry Cat just doesn't hear her song over all the bitterness. So yeah, that's what's going on in that neck of the woods. Now we just have Scaredy Cat left, and I don't really know what to say about him. The guy's scared. He's honestly not interested in catching anyone sleeping or taking 5 baths a day or even finding love because he's constantly scared for his life. So yeah, that ended on a very positive note. Now on to the background. I was really feeling a bright yellow color for the background, so that's why it's a bright yellow color. It being yellow means that it does clash with Yanni's sweater just a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. I won't lose sleep over it. I also wanted to really drive that cats and sweater theme home, so in the background I put needles and thread and some little patchwork pieces along with some buttons. Now all that's left is to add the sticker pages into the book and add some number stickers to each page, and we are done. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. As always, I hope you have a very good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!